also known as the Ghoul Girl. This video was requested a while ago by a couple people because I always talk about my spiritual guide, but I don't really open up that much. It's kind of like kept to myself. So I have talked before in like live streams and stuff about him, but not very opened up. And I always say it's a really, really long story as to like how it came to be and how I figured out or kind of separated what's him and what's other spirits trying to contact me. So let's jump into this story. So I was probably 15, 16 when I moved out, and I had been staying with a friend. And I remember at 3:30 every single morning I woke up. And now that I've done my research, I now understand that is a time where you wake up to your spiritual like awakening. And I didn't understand at the time, so I was just like, why am I repeatedly waking up at this time? Like, why this time? It's early. I have to be up for school in 3 hours. So, it was kind of like really annoying at the time. And then I remember specifically one night I woke up and I could feel a spirit standing behind me. Now, unlike a lot of people, I sleep on my, like, maybe like a couple people, but I wake up laying on my stomach. And I just felt this presence behind me, and it was so eerily calming. Like, I felt really, really weird, and I kind of felt, even though I felt uncomfortable, I didn't feel like I was in danger or like something bad was going to happen to me. So, a little bit after this occurrence, I had been in a paranormal investigation group, and we were doing like an investigation or like a research project is what we called it. And I remember after we were finishing, we were wrapping up, I saw my ex-boyfriend in the field. So, naturally I was like walking up to my ex-boyfriend, and I was like, oh, I was walking in the field, and I was like, hey, boyfriend, you shouldn't be there. And like he wasn't answering, so I kept on walking closer and closer. And probably when I was like 5 feet away, guess who tapped on my shoulder? My boyfriend, or boyfriend at the time. And it was absolutely freaky. Like, I was freaked out. I started crying. I started screaming, because what else would you do? Like, when does stuff like that happen to you? So fast forward a little forward, and I remember my relationship started getting like really rocky at this point in the story. And me and my ex had been fighting, and we would decide to go to sleep, just like to let it go to sleep. And probably around 3 o'clock my TV turned on, and I was like, what is going on? And I got up like unplugged the TV and went back to sleep, and then I woke up again to the TV being on. So I then got back up, turned it off, like unplugged the modem or like the router or whatever like causes the TV to work, and went back to sleep. And then the TV came back on with static. So at this point I'm starting to freak out. He's cursing, he's angry, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. So he tells me, he's like, whatever spirit it is that's bothering you, he's like, you need to make it go away. So at this point, like, I'm doing like cleansing baths, I'm saging, like I'm going full force to get this to go away. And then I remember one night, I was praying. I had like a little altar and stuff, so I was praying, and I had this moment where I was like, this one spirit always seems to come around when I'm extremely stressed out, when something's bad going on, and always seems to calm me down. So, but at the same time, there was this other spirit that would just agitate me and bother me. And I remember the one spirit, well, this is going to have to go into a second story about more about my past lives and history behind like my soul and stuff. But I have two kind of like darker spirits that like have attached themselves to me because of something that I did in my past life. So I came to this realization that there's one spirit at this point that was bad and one spirit that was good. So fast forward a lot farther, I nicknamed this spirit the Man in Black because I'd never gotten to see his face, and he always came to me in a black figure, which was kind of ominous, kind of weird, kind of freaky. I didn't know what to do. And at this point, I had broken up with my ex, and I was engaged to my now husband, and I was 5 months pregnant at this point. And we decided, let's go to the psychic. And we walk into the door, and we go into the room, we start the reading, and she just stops, and she goes, "Who's the man that is with you?" And I like looked at her and I was like, "What?" And she was just like, "You know about him. Who's the man that's with you?" And I was like, "Oh, the man in black." And she was like, "No. That's not his name." She goes, "But it's not my business to tell you. That's your business with him." And I was like, "Okay." And she was just like, "Just to let you know, your spirit guide is your father from your past life." And I was like, "Oh, all right." I don't know how to really digest that. And that was when I was kind of like verified that I wasn't like completely crazy, that someone else could see it, someone else knew it was there. And then I remember, this is like the end of the story, or the last time, like the last big event with him. I was sleeping in my room with my husband, and my husband gets up really early in the morning. At that point, I think he was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would get up with him, make him breakfast, make him lunch, and send him off in his way. So about 3:20, I went back to sleep, and all of a sudden I had this dream where my mother-in-law's room started like contorting and like expanding, coming in together, and there was this really odd lighting in her room. And I finally got to see my spirit's guide's actual, like, I guess what he looked like when he was human. And he looked at me and said, "You need to wake up and pray." And I was like, of course I was like dumbfounded. I was like, "What do you mean? Like, what's going on?" And he said, "Don't worry about it. Trust me. You need to wake up and pray." So I was like, okay, I'm mildly freaking out. So when I woke up, I was like, I'm going to pray, and I'm going to pray until I fall back to sleep. So I did this. And this is the second time that the other spirit that I said that's attracted to me, now I know that it's two spirits, like, at my present lifetime. This spirit came to me as my mother-in-law and was beckoning me to it. And I looked at it and I said, "You're not my mother-in-law." And all I can feel was you could cut the tension, like cut it with a knife. That's how angry this spirit got. And it started screeching at me, saying, "How dare you disrespect me? How dare you?" And I said, "You're not my mother-in-law. You're not supposed to be here. You need to go away. You're not welcomed." And all of a sudden, it just, all the tension in the room just exploded, and I just felt so terrified at that point in that moment of my life. So terrified, so horrified. I did not know what the hell was going on. And I have a relationship with my spirit guide as to where I can call on him. Me and him do chat, me and him do talk. He still comes to me at exactly 3:30 a.m. Not every day anymore. And when he does wake me up at 3:30, I'm like, what is going on now? I've had other discussions with my spirit guide pertaining to various subjects, my marriage, my business, myself, my son. We do have an open line of communication. He does help me like with my client work, with my readings. He's very present all the time. Um, it's kind of a really weird sensation to have a spirit guide. It's very, you know, am I crazy? Am I talking to myself? Is this some type of like mental illness? I don't know. I mean, I believe in him and I don't feel like it is, but I mean, that's my rendition of the situation. That's the story of my spirit guide. If you like this story and you want to hear more stories about, my spiritual path, my path in like my paranormal research, just like, share, comment, subscribe, and have a fantastic day.